All right, good to see everybody. Thanks for coming in. A lot of things here to cover. It's going to be a much longer opening statement than you guys are used to from me. So first, definitely want to recognize just our community. Obviously, all the damage from the fires in previous weeks been something that's been heavy on the heart of our entire program. We were very fortunate that we had a very limited number of people within our program that were affected. When you talk about, former players, current players and staff, so very fortunate that way. But it's also something that's, become very important to our team from an outreach standpoint to make sure that we're supporting our community, the first responders. I've been very proud of just, our team's response, how involved and engaged our staff has been, our guys have been with that efforts, and those are certainly going to continue. And again, our hearts and prayers go out to all the people affected and to our community, and it's something we feel. We know USC is a huge part of Los Angeles. The amount of support that we get, how close this city is, it's just it's very near and dear to us. And so just want everybody to know that we're here and going to continue to support those efforts, the first responders, the families affected, as much as we possibly can. Second, want to go through just some of these new hires and responsibilities. I'm sure I'll get some questions on them here in a second, but obviously welcoming Rob Ryan, our assistant head coach for defense and linebackers coach. Obviously, not hard to find out about his history and the type of coach that he is, the type of players that he's coached. Very fortunate to be able to add him to our staff, and you can feel his energy, his experience, his impact already. Chad Savage as our tight ends and inside receivers coach, a guy that really stood out to us very quickly in the process when we were looking to make obviously the additional offensive staff hire, and really somebody that has caught our eye in terms of being an elite developer of talent, elite recruiter, tremendous connections on the West Coast, specifically in the Los Angeles area that we certainly feel already, and had the added benefit of working with knowing with and having worked with a lot of people that had worked with Chad directly. So that's been a tremendous hire. And then Trevon Reed, there most recently as our corners coach, something that we had looked at after the offseason, and certainly being able to take advantage of some of the new rules regarding coaching and what all the different staff members can do, was adding another full-time secondary coach to the mix. Our Coach Belk will still be certainly the lead secondary coach, and obviously assisted by Coach Lynn with his secondary experience. But bringing Trevon in as a former NFL player, another guy that's a tremendous recruiter, has great relationships, and we think will do a tremendous job in that room, pairing with Coach Belk and Coach Lynn. And then want to announce those that are at least officially hired and here right now on the personnel side. Obviously, Chad Bowden as the general manager, Dre Brown as executive director of scouting and personnel, and then Zaire Turner, the assistant AD of recruiting operations. Want to give a shout out just before I kind of talk about that staff as a whole, to Jen Cohen, to Jay Hillbrands, to Dave Emmerich. Those three in particular were vital in this process of really revamping our entire kind of off the field and personnel recruiting, scouting staff. These are hires and really a bigger change that has been in the works for, even before the season started. And I think we quickly recognized as we started vetting candidates, as we started having conversations, that this is obviously a ever-evolving world in college football. There were a lot of different people that we talked to in a lot of different areas, from the NFL, college, businesses. We talked to people with all types of backgrounds. It was the most, honestly, extensive search, hiring and interview process that I've ever been a part of. But I believe our patience and how thorough we were, how committed we all were, our administration was, to getting this right, I think was absolutely rewarded. I think Chad, obviously his track record speaks for himself, and that was something that made sense pretty quickly when we were able to engage in some conversations with him in terms of our vision for USC, his vision for what we could continue to be. And there was just a general and shared excitement about where this place is going that I think really neither side could ignore. And then obviously really excited throughout his connections to add Dre and Zaire to the fold. We've got a couple others that will be announced here in the coming days and be here to Los Angeles. It'll continue to round out that staff. But I fully believe when it's all said and done, and I don't say this lightly, I think it's going to be the best, personnel off the field staff in the country. And that was the goal, to build that from the beginning. You see where these people have come from, their experience, the quality of jobs that they're leaving. They're not just doing this out of the kindness of their hearts. They see the opportunity here. They see the momentum here. And that's why we've been able to assemble that staff, along with, again, just tremendous support from Jen and everybody on the administrative side. And it's made a big difference. I mean, you can feel it, the excitement within our walls as a staff, bringing in this quality of people. The difference that it's going to make in our program is certainly going to be felt, and really already being felt. And I think it's also, again, another vote of confidence in terms of where this program is headed, to see these people join on with us, to see the investment by the university, and pairing with that, we've set some very aggressive goals from an NIL standpoint that our administration is heading up, and we really, we want to certainly continue to encourage all the great Trojans out there to continue to support that initiative, because just like hiring some of these great coaches we've been able to hiring this personnel staff, and investing, doing all the things that we're doing to keep this program accelerating, that's going to continue to be another big part. And we're counting on all the Trojans to step up and do their part there. And as always, it's very much appreciated. Last thing I want to address here on the staffing part, two kind of reassignments within our staff. So Dave Emmerich obviously is transitioning out of the general manager role to the senior associate AD for football administration. Dave has been instrumental in all of these hires, has been a part of this process for us since this summer, and has really, it has brought a ton of his experience and insight to this, and his vision was certainly key in putting the whole staff together, off the field, on the field, all parts of it. He is going to transition into a role where he's got oversight and a lot of involvement on all areas of our program, which is becoming more and more important as these staffs get bigger and you've got all these different moving arms, especially within my role, still having a pretty active part of the day-to-day coaching of our football team. Having somebody like that with his experience and that we know and trust will be instrumental going forward, and we couldn't have had a better person to do it, and he's been just tremendous during this transition. As you can imagine, the signing class, getting all these different people hired, transitioning to a different role, it's been a lot, and he's been a true Trojan through and through, and as a guy that's just, what is best for the team and how can I serve USC and help us win national championships. That's been his mindset and will continue to be. Also want to announce that we're going to transition Clark Stroud to the Executive Director for Player Development and University Relations. Clark, as many as you know, has worked together with me for years, going back to Oklahoma. He was the Dean of Students previously at that university, and really has a great gift for young people, the development of young people, putting together programs. And so the player development side is something that we are going to continue to invest in as a program. It's very, very important to us that we have a great support system set up for our players, that we leverage all the different opportunities that both this university and Los Angeles provide. And so that is going to become a much, I'd say, bigger and more heavily invested in part of our program. And Clark's going to be the one and is the perfect person to steer us kind of into the new era of player development here at USC. So we've got a couple other roles within the staff that will shift around as we take advantage of all the great skill sets and as we adapt to some of the different hirings that we've had, and we'll announce those at the appropriate time. And then finally, I want to get to our two signees here today. Give our staff a lot of credit. These are two guys that were a little bit kind of under the radar and people that we had our eyes on for a long time. Jaden Ramos and AJ Tuatelli. Two defensive players, Jaden being an edge player out of Texas in the Houston area. We had some great connections there locally to his high school coaches and a couple of other people close to him, and somebody that we felt very strongly about from a developmental standpoint. Was a highly productive player, in Texas this year that's got a great frame. We really fell in love with the kid when he came up on the visit, and excited to be able to sign him today. And then AJ, obviously from Las Vegas, a linebacker that really jumped off the tape, a kid that kind of blew up a little bit his senior year. One of those guys that in the new age of recruiting where so much of this happens early, he's one of those guys that you go pop on this kid's senior tape and it really stands out. And so felt very fortunate to be able to identify him, to be able to build a relationship with him and his great family. Another guy that we had a great visit with here in Los Angeles and felt very strongly about, and very excited to be able to sign him and add his explosiveness, his character to our linebacker room. So excited to get those guys in the boat today, and that's those were the two that were expected. So team's doing very well right now, in the middle of our off-season programming. So Coach Wiley and his staff, Rachel Suba and her staff have got some aggressive goals for our guys in terms of strength development, continuing to adapt these body types that we have, and so far off to a great start. So yeah, those are really the announcements that I have here today. Happy to answer any questions that you guys have for me.
We'll take some questions. We'll raise our hand. We'll start with Keely. Coach, as far as Coach Lynn's extension, how important was that to continue what you're building through?
Yeah, it definitely was important. We felt like, we made obviously some tremendous strides in year one with Coach Lynn. It's a system that we very much believe in, and I think we understand the value of continuity. And we always want our guys to be able to move up when those great opportunities come. But at the same time, I think, building a culture, and I think a place where your staff members, your players, everybody is excited about the direction of where we're going, that they want to continue to be a part of this climb. And I think, when you get a chance to talk to Coach Lynn, I mean, that's what that was a big part of the reason that he chose to remain here. When your alma mater comes after you, that pulls at people at different ways. And but I think in the end, Dan wanted to be a Trojan. And he's excited about what we're building. He sees the vision. He sees the changes. He sees the progress. He sees the new hires. I mean, he sees all parts of that, the players that we have incoming, and so certainly retaining him and adding to that defensive staff in the way that we have is very exciting. I think was very important for the program.
What was the initial impetus or moment when you realized we've got to rethink all of this? Does it start with talking to Jen Cohen and saying we need to really invest here? Is that kind of step one? And then how do all these additions tangibly impact recruiting success? How does it all lead into the outcome you want?
Yeah, I think it's something that we've all been aware of for a long time, and I think there's been, I think, a lot of opportunities along the line where we've started to have those conversations. I mean, really, when we hired Dave, several years ago, it was really for more of a role like he's going to be for us now. But then, obviously, college football changed, our administration changed. We had a few things moving, and so, Dave is, like I said, really has been kind of for the team what we needed him to be in the certain moments. But I think we always believed that this transition was coming, and I think both Jen Cohen and Jay Hilbrand's their experience in this business, having constant conversations with really all four of us about the future of this and kind of when was the right time and who do we target was important. And I look back on it now, we could have rushed into different people, different structures at different times, and I don't know that we would be feeling as good as we do sitting here today, to be completely honest with you. I think our patience was tested throughout this process, because anytime you've got a new hire, that's something you want to do. There's an excitement and an eagerness to just get it done, get it behind you, like kind of get moving. But I think we all recognize that this is very important to get this right. And it's not just, obviously, Chad was the first part of it. It is a huge part of it. But it's more than just one person. It's a system. It's a way of doing things. You restructure other jobs. You bring in other people around them. Like there's a lot to it. This was probably the most difficult hire that I've been a part of in all my years as being a head coach. Just because, you want to go hire a linebacker coach, like go interview the best linebacker coaches. Now we probably got the best one on the planet, which worked out good. But it's a pretty simple process. You go hire a general manager, you know, in college football, you know, you go to the NFL, you go to the business sector, you know, do you go to college? You know, how do you know who can build a system? You know, if they haven't been in college, how fast are they going to adapt? Like, there's a lot to it. But we were very, very, very thorough, and like I said, I think we knew pretty quickly that this was going to happen at some point, but it happened at the perfect time with the perfect group of people.
How does the addition of Chad Bowden, how does that, you know, and the people that he's going to bring with him, how does that specifically benefit the USC football program?
Well, I think one, you know, and you'll get a chance to talk to Chad here in a minute, but you know, one of his biggest goals and our biggest goals with this was to allow our coaches to coach more. I know, as crazy as that sounds, but we, you know, a lot of our coaches get pulled in so many different directions that you want to be able to, within your organization, that whatever strengths people bring to the table, you want to be able to accentuate those as much as you possibly can. And so our coaches are still certainly going to have a big role in evaluating, certainly going to still have a big role in recruiting, but their department is going to spearhead scouting. It's going to have a heavy role in recruiting. It's going to have a heavy role in how we construct our roster. It's going to have a heavy role in our salary cap and how we manage that, how we strategize. It is certainly, I don't know if it's fair to say that it's like completely to an NFL model, because different NFL teams do it in different ways, but it's certainly trending much closer to that, where there's a lot of synergy, but there's also, you know, kind of separate responsibilities, and it really is going to be kind of its own department within our program. And we've wanted to build a team of people that allow that to operate at a higher level, where we can evaluate more people, we can recruit more people efficiently, and then we can manage the roster, take a few things off of the coaches so the coaches can really dive heavily into coaching and developing our team. And allow our people in personnel, scouting, and recruiting to do their jobs at a high level.
Hi, everybody. Sorry. For the sake of time, we have to move on to the next person.
Sorry.
Thank you, Coach.
You want me to do a couple more? But,
We want to push everybody.
yeah, we can do 5 more minutes. Yeah.
Coach, at your introductory press conference at the top of the Coliseum, you said that you envisioned USC being the mecca of college football. How do these hires and these moves the past couple months help you get there?
Well, I think number one, they show that there's a lot of people outside this program that see what's happening here. I know it's our rivals and all that. Notre Dame's a good football program. Like, you don't just walk out of there. You know, you look at where some of these people have left. This is not, you know, somebody moving up from, and these are not people moving up from like a 1AA program up to USC. That's that massive of a jump in terms of levels. I mean, these are people that have good jobs, right? Have responsibilities. They have histories. They have production. And again, whether you're talking about the coaches, the personnel staff, any of them, these are all high-level people, and they wanted to be here. They see the progress, they see what's happening, they see things that honestly sometimes the average fan is maybe not going to quite recognize, because it's their profession. This is what these people live and breathe. And I didn't have to convince them, you know, and that was one of the great things. I mean, a lot of these people came to us, a lot of these people pursued us and had very shared interest and a shared vision. And so I think it shows that. I think it's our progress into the new age of college football. And I think it makes us as strong when you look at the coaching staff that we've assembled, and now the off-the-field staff that we've assembled. I think it's as strong as anywhere in the country, and which is obviously a huge part of this program's success going forward.
Coach, could you shed some light on how the road recruiting will work? Because I know you'll be a road recruiter, and then you have the 10 assistants, but Coach Reed is Coach 12. Can you mix and match coaches on the road at different times? Just how will that work?
Yeah, you can't currently like mix and match, like, you know, this guy this week, that guy that week. You still have to designate, your 10 that can go out on the road. But we will certainly, you know, you can do the math pretty quickly. Not every full-time coach for us will be on the road, and we may look at, which has become a little bit more popular in college football right now, of having even somebody on the off-the-field staff that's on the road as well. And that's becoming, again, it's just a little bit more popular now. The rules have changed. and kind of the mindset around that has changed. So we've got some good options and some decisions that we've got to make before the spring recruiting period hits.
Lincoln, what was the process of giving Luke Heward the offensive coordinator title, and do you still plan on calling plays?
Yeah. We'll continue to operate as normal. I think Luke's just take a real leading role in what we're doing. I mean, he just he did a great job. I felt like with the quarterbacks, he certainly takes a lead role in how we organize and how we game plan, which is what that role typically has meant for us. He's been loyal. He's had a lot of people that have come after him and tried to take him to their programs, and he's another guy that very much believes in the vision. And so to reward his loyalty and reflective of the duties that he does, because he certainly for our offense is more than just a position coach. He certainly brings a lot of value and a lot of experience to the table, and is somebody I've grown to trust very much.
Lincoln, you just look back the last couple of years, recognizing that this program needed to target improvements on the defensive staff, doing that, recognizing you needed to improve the front office, doing that, local recruiting, all these areas. How have these last couple of years challenged you personally with your vision that you have for this program to be adaptable? And what areas do you feel like you've taken a step forward in terms of leading this program?
Yeah, no, it's been fun because I've said this before, but I mean I do very much believe this, and probably a little bit more on the personnel side this time around. Like, I honestly don't believe we could have hired this same staff when I came in here 3 years ago. Like, I have a sense kind of for what the market was and the perception around it a little bit, and so. I think there's a time and place for all this. There's big picture visions of what you want to do, but you can't always do every single thing right away. It doesn't always fit or work that way. And so I think it shows that we're not content with any part of this program being average or even being good. Like, that's not our mentality. Like, any part of this program, we're evaluating on, is it at a national championship level? And if it's not, is it trending that way quickly? And if it's not, we need to fix it. I mean, that's just been the mentality from second one. And then I think, Jen and her team coming in a few years ago have certainly given us the support and share that same mentality. And that's the same mentality that we want, every Trojan to have, both inside the program, outside, everywhere. I mean, that's how it gets better, as you go bring in elite people. You go continue to raise the level of all parts of the program, and we're doing that. And my experience tells me you continue to do that, you continue to bring in elite people, elite players, then the results on the field are going to take care of themselves, and that's what will happen here.
You brought in Chad Savage to be the general manager, and there's a real emphasis on the front office having strong relationships with recruiting. Mm-hmm. How is that going to work with you and that front office? How much will you be involved with recruiting, with these guys taking some of it off of your plate?
Yeah, I'll still, number one, it's a partnership together. We're going to work together, and Chad is going to lead the charge certainly on that side of it. I think my role will set a little bit more into certainly the day-to-day recruiting of our top priorities and the people that we feel very strongly that we want to bring into USC. I'll probably have a little bit less day-to-day. I don't know if oversight's the right word. Certainly going to be involved in that, but knowing you have somebody there that day-to-day, whether I'm on the field coaching the guys or I'm on the road recruiting or whatever it is, that is running the show from that side of it, and that's what we wanted. That's what I wanted. I mean, that's again one of Chad's first things when we talked is like I want to make it where you can just coach. You can just coach the team, run the organization, and that these things are handled, and we're going to handle it. We're going to build a team that's going to take care of it for USC, and everything he's done up to this point, and we've already got honestly, for the amount of time he's been here, how much we've already got implemented and done up to this point is pretty remarkable. The staff that we've assembled, and he's obviously had a huge hand in assembling. You start to see what that is like coming together. It's a good feeling to have those guys on our team. I can tell you that much. Yeah, it's all good. We need some good nicknames.
We'll do one more here.
You touched on it a little bit, how unique the GM job is and how new that is and how intensive the process to interview somebody. What were you guys looking for, if you can name some specifics, and then maybe how did Chad specifically fit those things that you were searching?
Yeah, we were looking for, which this was maybe there's a lot of tough parts to it. I mean, we were looking for somebody that the college landscape right now was not foreign to. We didn't really want somebody that we had to bring them in and teach them a lot. That was kind of not quite the point. And when you narrow that down, you also wanted somebody that had experience with salary caps, rosters, contracts, negotiations. I mean, there's that whole world of it. Certainly, building the roster, some big picture vision, the ability to manage people, the ability for them to personally be involved in the recruiting process, to be able to build a staff and operate a staff. There's a lot to it, so it starts to narrow it down, and it's a new enough kind of phenomenon in college football right now. It's not like there's just 100 of these and you just start interviewing them. And so, do you go the NFL route? Again, do you look in the business world? I mean, each area kind of brought some strengths and weaknesses. And there were some great people that we interviewed. Again, it was thorough. I mean, I don't even want to begin to guess how many people we talked to, but it was a lot. But once we had the initial conversation with Chad, it was very clear to me that if all the things aligned, that he was going to be our next GM. All right. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, good to see you guys.
Awesome. Before we get going and open up the questions, I want to thank the University of Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman, and Pete Bavacqua for my time there. It was obviously a great experience there. I'd also like to thank the University, USC, Jen Cohen, and Coach Riley. It's a blessing to be here. I'm grateful for this opportunity. I'm excited to get to work.
All right, we will start with Keely. Hi, Keely Orr, team reporter.
What's up, Keely? It's been awesome. As soon as I touched down here, it was kind of cool. I've been able to stay at Coach Riley's house over the last week and a half. I'm at his casita. That's been a really great experience. I've been able to have some of his steaks, his balsamic, Mickey Mantle steaks that he makes, which has been really cool experience. To spend time with him, his wife, his two daughters. The transition's been great. Me and my wife, I told her the other day, it's the happiest I've been in a very long time. And I'm just excited to get to work here.
For you, how would you describe the roles and responsibilities of the college football GM in this era?
Yeah, I think everyone's going to have their different take on what it should be. I'm a collaborative guy. Everything that we're going to do here is going to be all together as one. Roles and responsibilities. I like to think that we're all in this thing together, and we're all in this to make USC the best, football program it can be, to help it, help USC reach its full potential, which is bringing a national championship, its 12th national championship here.
With WeRSC, you were in a really good situation at Notre Dame. That program is exceptionally strong. Looks like it's moving up. What did USC offer you to get you to leave something pretty cool in South Bend to come here?
Yeah, Notre Dame did everything they could to, keep me there. USC for me, it meant more to me. When I was a kid, I watched Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, like that was my team. Lendell White, Jarrett, like all those guys. USC kind of held something, in my heart. I think it's the greatest city in the United States of America, Los Angeles. I think it's a city of opportunity. I think the USC and the type of degree that young people can get, as far as the connections and network, can truly set these young people up for the rest of their lives. And I thought that coming here, I could have the type of success that I want to have, and I could be able to sustain it. And it's a big reason why I chose USC.
USC Football. Oh, sorry. Ryan Abraham, USCFootball.com. Obviously, Notre Dame makes a run to the national championship. How quickly did this come together, and how did it all go? Jen Cohen and Lincoln Riley talking to you to bring you over to USC.
Yeah, I don't want to get into what the timeline really looked like. All I know is as soon as we started having the conversations, it was an aggressive, attacking mindset on behalf of Jen and Lincoln, and it was the place to be. I knew it was the place to be, and that's why I chose USC.
Morissette, also with USCFootball.com. Could you shed some light on your roster building philosophies? How do you want to build USC's roster, and how big of an impact can your team have on next season? I know it's a pretty quick turnaround here.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's probably going to be in this upcoming class. We're going to major in high school, and we're going to minor in the portal. And we're going to be aggressive, and we're going to attack. Our business is change. Every single day something could change. We're going to be on offense every single day, and we're going to attack it. And we're going to attack it through high school. We're going to attack it through the state of California. It's the best high school football in America is played in California. And we're going to do everything that we can to get the very best players that are in California, to stay here and to play for USC.
Benjamin Royer with the LA Times. Chad, can you quickly tell us a little bit about how your relationship with Lincoln's developed? I know you were pretty close with Coach Freeman, so can you talk about that immediate conversations you've had with Lincoln, especially living with him as you currently are?
Yeah, me and Lincoln have a great relationship. We really hit it off, right off the bat. And a lot of the things that he talked about with me as to why he chose to come to USC they aligned with how I felt. And all we want to do is win this thing. We want to win that moment. And we know what moment that is. And we talked about how we're going to do it. And, You know, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. You know, and we both share and align. You know, Coach Riley, Jen, we all have. There's an alignment. There's synergy within how we're going to approach this thing, how we're going to attack it, and you know, everything kind of aligned with how we were talking, and you know, our relationship's been great. Again, anytime you have balsamic steaks that are phenomenal, you know what I mean. And Coach Riley's, you're at Coach Riley's house, staying in his guest house. You have a pretty good relationship.
Orange County Register. How did this philosophy for you of majoring in high school, minoring in portal, why do you believe in that emphasis as opposed to maybe leaning a little bit heavily on the portal? What does that look like to you in terms of assembling?
Yeah, it's just a culture. It's just the culture. It's all about culture and the, you know, I think things that you can do within a recruiting process, the earlier you get them and have them committed, you're already building your culture. And when you have that and you can acquire that in high school, and then you have years with the player and with the family, because you're not just recruiting a kid anymore, you're recruiting their family. And once you have them, you know, in your class, and they sign here, and you got 4 or 5 years, sometimes 3, 4, 5 years with them, that's how you build a culture of a program, and that's why that's going to be our emphasis.
Ryan Young, TrojanSports.com, Rivals. How did you kind of get on this path career-wise, and how much influence did your dad play, obviously being in sports, player personnel and everything? What's the overall background story?
Yeah, so, you know, I grew up, you know, my dad was a general manager of the Cincinnati Reds and the Washington Nationals, so I grew up in it. I watched him every day do it, interact with coaches, interact with players, interact with, you know, the ownership and you know, everything that kind of came with it. So it was natural to me. It was something I really wanted to do. You know, now I had to learn. I learned a lot when I was younger. You know, I can remember. I remember I was in my dad's office, and I heard him complaining about Felipe Lopez not running out to first base. And I went down, and I didn't know any better. I went down to the locker room. I said, "You need to run to first base," and he put me in a garbage can. You know what I mean? So sometimes you got to kind of watch how you kind of play things. But you know, it was always what I wanted to do. You know, I didn't know college football was going to come to this. I didn't know it was going to be this title. I never asked for the title. I never, you know, I just wanted to help a team win. If you've ever been around me, all I want to do is win and have it be a team. You know, not just me, but have it be a team effort and everybody achieving, you know, everyone reaching their full potential. And that's all I've ever wanted to do in my life. And, you know, it's never been trying to reach being a GM. I just really want to win a national championship.
Chad, Antonio Morales from The Athletic. You've seen USC's roster from afar the past few years, but when you take a deep dive into it, what's the most pressing priority to you?
It's an incredibly talented roster. I really like the guys that are, you know, I think they've done a phenomenal job in recruiting. I really like the roster that's here. All we're trying to do is enhance it. And I really look forward to the future, and I look forward to, you know, helping this roster and helping the coaches and the administration, you know, and for USC to get to where it's supposed to go.
Chad, Ryan Dyer here with LAFB Network. First of all, welcome to LA.
Thanks.
I saw a video of you talking about some out-of-the-box recruiting tactics and strategies. Have you started talking with Lincoln about, you know, with LA at your disposal, some fun stuff you can do with recruits now?
Yeah, we've talked about him jumping out of a helicopter. I don't know if he's going to do it yet. No, I'm just kidding. Look, we'll do whatever it takes, you know, when it comes to recruiting, whatever it takes. If it makes sense, we're going to do it. And Coach Riley is up for anything. And, you know, all the coaches are up for anything. I think, you know, you guys soon will meet Rob Ryan. We might have him hopping out on a parachute. I don't know. You know, we're going to come up with some really creative ideas for recruiting, and, you know, whatever it takes for us to get the very best players in the country, we're going to do it.
Hey, Chad. Mark Holkin, wearesc.com. Welcome to Southern California. What are what's your vision with NIL? And we're getting into the revenue sharing phase of college football. How do you see that working with the roster? Do you see the roster getting bigger, smaller, going more of an NFL size? What's your philosophy on that?
Yeah, I don't really want to disclose what we're going to do in regards to NIL or roster. All I know is we have a plan, and we're going to attack it. We're going to have a mindset of attacking. Like I said previously, this business is changing every day. And some things are not in place yet. You never know what's going to happen. We could wake up tomorrow and know that, everything that could potentially happen is it's an uncertain future. All I care about is what we can do today. And, when business changes, we're going to be in attack mode. We're going to be on offense every time.
Hey Chad, Pally Getty, ESPN. You kind of touched on it there, how much it's changing every day, and how the role itself, even it's very new. How do you see the role evolving, I guess, over the course of the next few years, if you could even look ahead and kind of predict? But what do you see as kind of the most important traits to have as you go forward with this role?
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
How do you see the role of GM evolving? As you said, it's changing, constantly. How do you see it evolving, and what do you think are the important traits to have as the role evolves and it kind of keeps going?
Yeah, I think the role has so many different. There's so many different things that it involves: recruiting and NIL and personnel and working with coaches. I don't know what the next step's going to be. Again, I don't know what the future holds. I don't know how it's going to evolve, but again, I know we're going to be prepared for it and we'll have a plan for it.
Coach, you touched on it a little bit, but just that alignment and synergy with Jen and Coach Riley, what is your pitch? Like, what do you want the non-negotiables for the culture at USC here to be? And apologies, sorry, McKenna Keel, Big Ten Network. Look forward to working with you.
Yeah. I mean, it's USC. It's the place to be. It really is, and we're going to recruit that way. Everything that USC stands for and offers young people from an educational standpoint, the degree, the connections, the network, the marketability in the greatest city in the country. This is the place to be. That's going to be our messaging to every recruit, because there's not one thing that LA and what USC, it covers every base that a young person could want. And that's what that's going to be our big pitch. And that's all of us. That's every coach. That's every player. That's everybody in administration. We are all in it together. And it's the place to be.
Chad, Luke Evans, Orange County Register. Yep. I know you don't want to get into, the plan here with NIL and that sort of thing, but Lincoln just mentioned, guys are going to be aggressive or have been aggressive with NIL. Jen Cohen said, I think in a letter that they're in USC is preparing to invest the full $20.5 million into sports and be aggressive with football in that vein. Did you get the sense that, coming into this job, that you would have the resources, that you'd want to build a roster, and that USC was going to be aggressive in pursuing that?
Yes.
All right, we'll do one more.
You guys have had a bunch of more help beyond yourself. How do all those pieces each lead to more success? How does having X amount of personnel directors contribute to the final product of success, recruiting-wise?
Yeah, you are who you surround yourself with. I'm a big believer in that. That's like my mom's biggest motto, is who you're around every single day. That's who you become. We're hiring the very best, across the country, and we want to be around the very best. I want to be around the very best, and I want to make sure that this program is being pushed in every avenue. And there is not a day and there is not a moment where you can be lax. I want to make sure that we are pushing this program in every avenue, and that's why we're going to continue to hire the very best in the country. And it's not just the front office. It's look at what Jen and Coach Riley have done in regards to the coaching staff. We have freaking Rob Ryan on our staff. You know what I mean? We have Coach Lynn on our staff. We got the best staff in the country. We have the best front office in the country. We got really good freaking players. I'm just excited to get to work. The future for USC is so incredibly bright. We're going to make sure this place reaches its full potential. It's going to take every day. It's going to take being around the right people, and that's what we're doing.
Sure. Rob Ryan here, my sister. And actually, she's no relation, but she's awesome. And anyway, just happy to be here. And only reason I left pro football. I've been there the last 25 years. It's well documented. This is the first time in long time that I've been in college football. Last time I was at Oklahoma State, we were a top 10 defense, and that was about 25 years ago. Last time I stopped anybody. But anyway, you'll see this. I'm gonna be me. I'm comfortable in my own skin, so I hope you are. I enjoy people. It's a people business, and I had my first taste. We were in a team meeting yesterday, and to see the young faces looking back, it was refreshing and it was exciting. And obviously here I'm joining the best coaching staff in the country. Lincoln Riley is right there with McVay. They're the best offensive coaches, best guys in the country. I don't care what what league it is or whatever it is. That's just the truth. And I've been around some pretty good ones. I've been around Bill Belichick. I've been around Al Davis. I've been around Sean Payton, all these guys. These are the best offensive coaches in the country. So obviously when to come to a place, if I'm going to leave pro football, I'm going to come to a college. I want to win a national championship. And so I want to make sure I chose USC. It's the right place to be. And so, I chose Lincoln. I've been a big admirer of his, with kind of hard not to like a guy. He's got all these Heisman Trophy winners, So, and then Danton Lynn, we go back. Rex and Allen are like best buddies, and me and Danton coached together at two places, Buffalo and Baltimore. We were number one in run defense when I was there with Danton. So. Anyway, I moved on from there. But anyway, let's open it up, and everybody just whatever. I don't hear great, so you may have to speak up or whatever.
Hi, Coach Keely, or team reporter here at USC Athletics. You mentioned, the relationships and between Lynn and your brother. How far back does that go, and how much did that influence you to come to USC?
100% it influenced me. He brought it up to me, and I'm like, you're out of your mind. But then, but I got to thinking about it, and he kept selling it, and he sold some of the players here and things like that. And this is a young Mike Tomlin. Way I look at him, he's Danton's sharp as he can be. He's a wonderful person. He's a great teacher, and so my son was on the staff. I'm teaching him like. My father, clear nepotism, man. He hired me and Rex to coach with the Cardinals. We have been college coaches. Complete nepotism, absolutely. Well, once you get there, you got to do the job. I mean, both of us coached in the league 25 years. I think we were decent coaches. I'm just going to say we're probably some of the best that ever coached, but we needed a chance. I'm not bragging. I'm just telling the truth. But, and I want to do the same for my son. So, to have them a chance to be around the best young coaches. These coaches are, I call them young because they're young compared to me. And so it's an opportunity. It's awesome. And, the truth about USC now, when I was coaching the great Willie McGinnis, we were winning 2 Super Bowls together, Belichick's first 2. Willie always had USC gear on. He always repped USC. And there's not a guy that loved his school more than Willie McGinnis. Now, I'm looking over there, I'm assuming the building's named, the stadium's named after him, something, I don't know, because he was the best. No one reps their school more than he does. And, he's long, gorgeous, tough guy. God, he was one of the smartest guys I ever coached. But, he always repped USC. I'm like, man, dude, what's up with this? And then I get Isaiah Palmau last 3 years in Vegas, and I see this kid. We don't even draft him. The kid's super talented, and just like in USC, all you had to do was put him on the field. He'd make a play. I'm like, man, I kind of like this kid. Then I met his wife, who also was in theater, I guess, at USC, and I'm like, man, these are match made in heaven. Both of them are gorgeous people. They're smart. They love their school. He played football. She was in, whatever that great, you call that, arts building. And it's like they met each other. So, you got the best academics, you got the best football, and you got, he ends up meeting his mate. I'm like, man, this is a spot to be. It's a spot to be. So anyway, so I mean, it's a match made in heaven. And Rex and Anthony Lynn, not D. Lynn, Anthony, his dad, they go way back. And the only way Rex could get Anthony, he wanted to, hey, you're assistant head coach. He's given all those titles. That's a great title, by the way. But anyway, he's like, hey, you can do this, you can do that, I'm going to pay you $1 billion. Well, Anthony was still kind of balking at him, like the Jets never had a quarterback until Sanchez. All right, so they're like, well, oh, by the way, I'm going to hire your son so you can tell your wife that you turned, him down and your son. So that's where Danton got his first start, was under Rex. So that made A-Lin come with him. So rest is kind of history, but there you go, a little brief history.
Ryan Abraham, USCFootball.com. You said you haven't coached in college for quite a while. To get indoctrinated by going out on the road and talking to 17-year-old high school kids, like how was that first experience? Like you haven't done something like that in quite a while.
Well, I was with Henny, who's like, I mean, that's Pete Carroll. Like that guy's he's got energy. He's unbelievable. Everybody loves him. He walks in the building. He's like, oh, Henny. Like he's the man, so it was pretty easy. No, they did not trust me on going out by myself. I would have probably broke every rule. No, I wouldn't have. Maybe a few of them. But it was awesome to be around him. And then, I think I'm kind of used to like seeing a player, know what he looks like. And when you see a face that you're used to looking at, it's like, oh, I want that kid, So I saw a couple of those on the road. And I'm like, all right, this will be pretty cool. And then I got back here and I got you looking at these young kids, he's 170 pounds. Can you project this is where it's going to be a little different. So, I'm still kind of getting used to that, but, it's a people business. So back when I was coaching at Tennessee State 110 years ago, I used to sign a lot of kids. So I'll be okay. I'll be good at it for sure.
Connor Morissette with USCFootball.com. So the linebacker room, you got Eric Gentry coming back, and then a lot of young guys around him. What's your evaluation of the room that you've inherited?
Oh, I love him. I'm excited. Like the Gentry, he's a tall guy. He's big. He's done everything this school has asked of him this year. Like he's been in the weight room. Those guys do an amazing job. He's got the diet going. He's built his body up. The guy's been fantastic, and he does the unnatural natural. Like, I love this kid. This kid makes more plays. My God. Like, this guy's going to be fun to work with. And he's got these vines for arms. I do great with those guys with the long arms, Vrabel, McGinnis. Like, this guy's going to be hitting people. The biggest thing is he's going to hit them before they hit him, and get used to that. And I can help, a kid as talented as he is. He reminds me of the honey badger. Just stick him anywhere, that kid will make a play. Like, that, it is fun. It's going to be fun coaching him. I just met him briefly, and, he's a good-looking kid, so it's like it's going to be a lot of fun with him. And really excited about Dez. Dez plays the way I like. He plays violently. I know, that's not a great word. I'm not allowed to say he'll dent a helmet, but, he's going to hit people, and I enjoy players like that. Cerebral guys like Sean Lee. My rookie Cole Holcomb led everybody, and nobody knew who he was. He led all rookies in tackles when there was 4 first-round picks, and Cole Holcomb, he was better than all of them. But we're going to make these guys great and greater than they want to be. And obviously, I got some really good talent there to work with. Excited about the recruiting class. I can't talk about that, but really, really happy about these guys. We may not have a lot of kids, but they're going to be good ones. I saw them working hard in the weight room, and it's going to be a fun group to work with for sure.
Coach Mark Hulkin, over here.
Yes, sir.
Mark Hulkin, WeAreSC.com. You've been coaching, as you said, forever, since Methuselah was walking around as a baby. Have you seen the culture change a lot in between, when you were coaching in college 25 years ago to the NFL and then coming back to college now? Have you seen a personality trait difference? And then second part of the question, better hair, you or Coach or Troy Polamalu?
I'd have to say Troy there. That's a close one. Mine's a little grayer, but he's getting a little tinted gray now. Both of us, ironically, married Greek women. Whew. Well, it's a tough. That's tough. So I'm sure she's in charge of his house like mine's in charge of me. But what was the other question? Oh, coaching? You know what? That's the biggest overrated thing there is. People are people. The only people who are going to survive in football are guys that are the alphas, that are tough, that love contact, that enjoy running to the ball, competing at the highest level. And that's what you still see. Like, oh, this guy, well, he's on social media. He's on it. I get it. But at the end of the day, when they're looking back at you, they're the same guys. They're the same guys. Like, that's who's successful. Smart, tough, competitive, hardworking, selfless, and football's important. That's the only people that make it. And when you're on this level, it's the same as professional football. Like, we got to win. Like, up there, that's what we're shooting for, and it's the same. So, I haven't even seen a difference, and I've been coaching for 40 years or whatever it is, and they all look, they're great. You could put any one of our kids in front anywhere. I don't care where it is. He's going to stand out, and the eyes will go to him, because that's just who they are. They're the alphas. They're the best people in the world. And I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen the difference, and I enjoy them. I love being around them. They keep you young. They keep you excited. They keep you happy. Like, it's, I don't know. I mean, I like teaching and coaching young people like that because they're so easy to be around. They're the best people in the world. And I think you could land them in any business at all, and they'll be successful.
Rob,
Yes, sir.
Luke Evans, Orange County Register. You mentioned your praise for Danton. I think you first worked with him back on the Bills, 2016. Yes. What did you notice about him then that was special, or that you could tell was going to be special, and how have you seen him develop since then to where he is now?
Okay, well, first one, all right, this is no lie. All right, so, me and Rex were Cub fans, so the Cubs make it to the World Series. They're playing Cleveland for the World Series, Game 7. So Rex, being the head coach, he's like, well, let's go get a van and load it up, a bus, and take it over there to go watch Game 7. This is no lie. This is Tuesday during the season. I'm like, we can't do that. Well, he did. He took everybody but 2 coaches. Me and Danton. I was like, well, hell, we can't leave. We got work to do. We got to coach this team up. We got to get all these cards up. We did all that. But that's the work ethic we had. Like, sometimes, the good don't go with the bad. We had to stay and work, but that's what I admired about him. We were always going to work. I think it might have been my training from Belichick or whatever. I'm not leaving, hell. But, he's been great. And, we've also taken over reclamation projects. I took over the worst defense in the history of the National Football League when the great Steve Spagnuolo was coordinator. They were dead last in the history of the National Football League in defense. I went to New Orleans, we were 4th. All right. I thought that was pretty good. And then I did the same thing in Oklahoma State. They were 120-something in the country. We were top 10 that year. But anyway, coordinator year in both leagues. But that wasn't even the one in New Orleans. I never got even nominated. Like, excuse me? But anyway, Dan did the same thing at UCLA. They get to a garbage outfit and went in the top 10. All right, now he came here. Program was a little bit down. Clearly on the upside, watch where we finish this year. Watch where we finish this year. This guy is special. He's special. He knows how to get it done. He's a great communicator, great teacher. He's fun to be around. He makes everybody better, including the coaches. And, we'll see. I'm looking forward for the, spring ball or whatever. I can't wait. We're going to go against the best. Oh, good. Bring it on. Let's see. I can't wait to see that little JUCO kid from Hutch. Bam! We're going to get after his little butt. But anyway, it'll be great. We're excited. You know, and I saw the Mayava guy. I coached his uncle. I hated that kid when I first saw him. A USC kid, a little captain. Remember, he could walk under this table right here. Little guy. And we draft this little runt. I'm like, oh, man. This guy, I was all over this kid during the OTAs. Like, man, this guy, man, you got to run to cover a guy. Anyway, so then I'm like, hey, guys, Sweet Live is going on vacation with the family, going out to Hawaii, going to Maui. I've never been to Maui. I run things in Oahu, but I'm like, I'm going to go to Maui. He's like, hey, Rob, you get in any kind of trouble now, you just tell him you know Kalooks. I'm like, man, yeah, I'm going to tell him I know Kalooks. You know, get the hell out of here. Walk out there, do the usual. Got me and the wife there. Oh, we're going to have a romantic evening. Go out there. No rent-a-car. What do you mean? You never called for the rent-a-car? I told you she's Greek. I'm like, yeah, they must have lost it. So, of course, I forgot to call. Now they're out of cars. I'm in Maui. I got no car. So what do? I know Kalooks. I got a car. Oh, you know Kalooks? Swear to God, hand to God, true story. I got a van. I'm like, yeah, Kalooks, my man. Anyway, I ended up loving the kid. He was, oh man, is he mean as a rattlesnake. And there was a reason why that kid was captain with all those first round draft choices. I love that guy. Ended up, looks can be deceiving. Sorry. Threw that one off track
no apologies.
there. How about, I figured Luca, you might, join the Lakers now. I mean, I thought you might have a question, No? Okay. What else we got?
Ryan Young, Trojansports.com. When did you first think that returning to college was ever a possibility for you? When the USC contact started, how long did it take you to kind of get on board with that kind of idea?
Danton brought it up, and, right at the end of the season, obviously, with AP leaving, that was, he brought it up earlier, and then I was thinking about it, and then AP gets fired, and people don't know, like, me and Mark Davis are really close. All right, me and almost all these great coaches, like Pete Carroll went there. I mean, he's a great football coach. I was comfortable in my own skin. I know I could have stayed and all that. But that wasn't the deal. What I wanted to do was, I'm 62 years old. I've been taking care of myself for a long time, but I wanted to give, my son a chance to be around the great program. And so that enticed me. And then to hear about the way Danton spoke about this place, about Lincoln, about these players on this team, like that safety is sweet, man. I see him now. I'd be bragging on him even more than Danton does. But it got me excited. And then when I came up, I brought my son up. I went and talked to Lincoln and Dave Emmerich, and I'm like, man, these people are legit. Like, I can't say no to this. Is going to be great. And, so, I mean, I'd like to say I asked my wife's opinion, but I'm like, man, I'm going to USC. So now she's packing what she now says is for the last time, and she is not happy with me, but I'm getting ready to go home today and got the dumpster ordered, and here we go. I'm going to be packing it up. The only difference is I'll be hitting the U-Haul coming, but we're excited about it. It's a great choice for me. I'm already pretty comfortable being here. I'm still, working a little bit on the recruiting thing, but, I'm happy to be here. Great defensive staff that we're around, and really enjoying it already. Thank you so much, Coach Ryan. All right, that's it. All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
coach and inside receivers coach, the man whose name you all loved on Twitter, Chad Savage.
Appreciate it, Katie. I got to be upset with Katie for putting me after Coach Ryan. That's a tough one to follow up on. But Chad Savage, super excited to be here at USC. Just a place with so much tradition. You look up, you walk up the stairs every single day. You see 11 national championships, 8 Heisman Trophy winners. You don't find that anywhere else across the country. Super excited to be under Coach Riley's leadership and just to be surrounded by great people. But first off, I want to thank Coach Norvell and his wife, Kim, for the opportunity they gave me the last 3 years to be at Colorado State.
Hi, Coach Keeley, or team reporter here at USC. We've heard about your ability to recruit the SoCal area. How would you describe your strategy when it comes to recruiting and the relationships you build?
I mean, it's a cliche saying, everyone says it, but double down on relationships, do your due diligence, but you got to give people the time of day, because it doesn't matter if it's a small inner city school, it doesn't matter if it's a Trinity League school. You got to give people the time of day, you got to reply to their texts, and you got to be honest with their evaluations, because you never know. A lot of these kids might have 4 stars, 5 stars, but some of the best players might be under-recruited kids. And so you just got to do your due diligence with the recruiting process, and you got to give everybody the time of day.
Your reputation in Southern California among the high school coaches is about as high as I probably encountered in quite some time, at least with a coach from USC. How did that develop? Would that have been, if your territory was Seattle, Washington, would have that become like Southern California in the same way? Or just talk about the process of how kind of developed into what you are here.
I was fortunate to have Southern California, the last 2 schools I was at recruiting-wise. And so I had LA County, I had Long Beach, I had San Diego. And doesn't matter if it was LA, it doesn't matter if it's Seattle, Washington, like you said, you got to spend time with the people. And so when you go to a school, you see a lot of coaches just go by, shake hands, and they're in and out of the office in 10 minutes. You got to go spend time with the coaches and have conversations with them, ask them questions too. And it's got to be a two-way street. And I think if you just invest the time, people are going to appreciate that. And that's what I try to take pride in.
Do you think being at Colorado State, maybe where there's a bigger pool of fish that you're recruiting, do you think that benefited you?
Without a doubt. You definitely got to do, I think, more homework when you're at Colorado State. You got to try to turn over every single rock, and sometimes you will find that diamond in the rough. And having that experience the last few years, I'm definitely grateful for that, because we did find some diamonds in the rough.
Chad, just to go off that, Luke Evans, Orange County Register, you're now, going after where you might have been going after more of kind of the unturned stones with Colorado State. Now you're going to be competing for 5 stars nationally. How was your experience at Colorado State with learning to develop those relationships? How do you feel like you can apply that to having more resources and a bigger pool to work with at USC maybe?
I'm just excited. I mean, wearing the USC logo, it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter if you're in Southern California, Arizona, on the East Coast, this logo carries weight, and people recognize what USC is. And so now just continuing to be who I am, I'm not going to change up just because I got a different logo on. I'm continuing to be Chad Savage. I'm going to be loyal. I'm going to be diligent, and I'm going to just be respectful to people. I was raised on certain values, and it doesn't matter what school I'm working for, those values are going to stay the same. And so at Colorado State, like we talked about earlier with the previous question, we combed through every single school, and we were able to find some good prospects. I'm still going to continue to do the same thing at SC. Yeah, there's some guys that are going to have the high rankings. Great. But you might find a guy in the diamond in the rough in the inner-city league, and if he's the best player, we're going to sign him.
Just a quick reminder to the media, we have lots of new coaches learning all of your names and faces, name and outlet. That'd be great.
Hey, Chad, Antonio Morales from The Athletic. Just how do you plan on splitting time between receivers and tight ends? I know they're kind of different roles in this offense. How do you, split time at practice and meeting rooms and all that stuff?
We're still kind of working through that dynamic now that we're off the road. The last 2 weeks, obviously, we were on the road recruiting, and so we were back in the office Monday watching cut-ups of the offense and kind of talking through the dynamic of how practice is going to run, how meeting structures will work out too. But that's a conversation we're talking about right now.
Morissette with USCFootball.com. You're known as this great recruiter, and I feel like that's a huge part of your reputation. But let's hear about you as a coach. What's your identity as a coach, and what do you want to accomplish on the practice field every day?
Raised on, number 1, team growth, number 2, individual growth. So it's all about the team. I'm going to be here to help these guys achieve their personal goals, but most importantly, working on the team goals. Because you could be a 1,000-yard receiver, but if you go 0-12, does it really matter? No. So let's get everyone eat. Be very detail-oriented, because I believe the differences in the details, but at the end of the day, I want it to be a good experience for these guys. I want to create excitement because I believe happiness increases the time of exhaustion. And so these kids, whether they're here for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, this should be the best experience of their life. And so when their feet hit the floor in the morning, I want them to be excited when they come in the building to play for me.
Ryan Young, TrojanSports.com. We've spent a lot of time today talking about the new personnel and recruiting department. From a coach's perspective, how does Chad Bowden and that staff make things easier for you, impact what you all can do as coaches recruiting-wise?
I think as many hands as you can have in the fight, it's going to just help you as a team. And so to have a certain structure, a certain vision that Chad has, we're just super excited as coaches. He laid out the plan on Monday, and now he articulates that vision. Now we got to execute it.
Benjamin Royer with the LA Times. Chad, can you kind of talk about being a younger coach and what that perspective gives you in the modern day college football world?
I see myself as a self-starter. I see myself as a high-energy guy. And so being a younger guy, I can relate to these guys. I know what music they're listening to. Some of these inside jokes they might be making walking down the hallways, I might have heard it once or twice. But just being able to relate these guys to a personal level and being consistent with my energy and attitude every single day. Because you see me at practice, I'm going to be flying around. I'm going to be running around. I won't be walking. That's just who I am as a coach. And I think when you perform with high energy, energy is contagious. And so if you're a coach with high energy, it's going to wear off on your team and you're going to see what you want.
Hey, Coach. Ryan Dowd here with LAFB Network. Welcome to LA.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You know, you've probably met these guys maybe once. You're talking about being on recruiting, but this room here in Harrington, super talented tight end room, plus the inside receivers. The meeting you have had, can you talk on just kind of what you've seen from these guys so far and what you can get out of them, you think?
Yeah, my first day on the job, I was able to meet with these guys, both the inside receiver group and the tight ends. It was a quick meeting, 5 minutes, and to be honest, that was the only meeting I had because after that I was on the road for 2 weeks. Saw the guys yesterday. A few guys are coming in here and there, but realistically, I just talked about the standard of the room, how we're going to operate, how we're going to do things, and we're going to set the standard high because that's what we're going to achieve, and this place has high standards. And so we're not just going to set the bar low. In our room, we're going to set the high standard, and we're going to go after it every single day. And we're going to carry ourselves like pros, and it's my job to take their talents to a level they can't take themselves.
I guess as far as receivers are concerned, you know, you've been coaching that position for a while, so you know what you've been looking for. Do you have to look for anything significantly different here at USC than you did at Colorado State?
Playmaking ability. It doesn't matter where you're at. What kind of player is he with the ball in his hands? What kind of player is he when the ball's not in his hands? Is he a willing blocker? Does he have the attitude and demeanor to roll up his sleeves and get his hands dirty and be physical on the perimeter? But when the ball's coming his way, is he a versatile athlete? Can he run through the catch? All that stuff's the same. It just this guy might be a little bit faster. He might be a little more fluid in the routes. And now we can recruit on a national level too.
Chad, what relationship have you developed with Lincoln so far, and how do you feel like, you know, he kind of trusted you, again, as a younger coach, Colorado State, to step into this kind of role at USC? For sure, and I think trust is built over time. It's not just going to be built overnight, and so how he sees me operate day-to-day as a coach and a staff member, he's going to respect me, and obviously I got so much respect for what he's done just as a head coach, one of the best offensive minds in the game, but just how he carries himself. He's a leader, and so many people respect him, and he's creative. And so I'm just been so excited. I'm fortunate for this opportunity, and every day I wake up, I couldn't be more excited to come in this building. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Trevon Reed from Thibodaux, Louisiana. Graduated at Auburn. Recently got here from UCF. Blessed to be here. This place is special, man. As a kid, I used to dream to want to be here. And it's still surreal to me. I'm still taking it all in, but man, I hit the ground running. I'm ready to work, ready to get this place back to where we all knew it belonged.
Hi, Coach Keely, or USC team reporter. Just curious, how would you describe your coaching style now, 1 year in?
I'm fun, energetic. Y'all gonna hear me making a lot of noise. My guys gonna play hard. We're gonna play the right way. We're gonna do it for the alumni, for the people who really love this university. We're gonna go out there and play for them. I'll be right there with them. So when they make a play, don't be surprised if you see a coach on the field. I'm gonna talk to coach. I might get a flag or two. It'll be worth it though. It'll be worth it.
Scott Schrader with We Are SC. Coach, you've got a great reputation not only as a coach but also as a recruiter. You kind of consider a dog as a recruiter on top of your coaching prowess.
I like that.
What goes into becoming a dog as a recruiter? Because there's a few of them on this staff now.
You just got to be real, man. No lying to these kids, no lying to the parents, no lying just to get them there and then it's whatever. I believe in building real relationships. I don't believe I'm recruiting. I believe I'm building a relationship that's gonna last a lifetime. And when you got it like that, the kid's gonna respect it, and they're gonna run through a wall for you. And a lot of people consider me as a big time recruiter. I just consider myself as a real person who builds genuine relationships that's gonna last a lifetime. And we're gonna do it for this university, whatever university I'm at. I ain't selling you no fugazi junk. It's real, and the love is gonna be real. When you drop a ball, you could come to my office. When you catch for 100 yards, you could come to my office. Like, it's a real family atmosphere with me, and that's been successful for me, and I don't plan on changing that.
Connor Morissette with USCFootball.com. Did you have any prior relationship to the staff? I know Eric Henderson's from the same area you are. Did you know him before, or Coach Belk, or anyone, or was this just you interviewed and knocked it out of the park, and here you are?
I think I knocked it out the park. I knew a lot of the guys. Of course, I knew of Coach Riley, man. He's a winner. Always watched him from afar when he was at Oklahoma. Me and Coach Henderson from the same area. Grew up watching him play. Our relationship is super close. Was a big fan of Coach Belk at Houston. Have mutual friends, man. I played for Coach Lynn Dad for the Chargers, so it's a lot of family, and man, they welcome me in with open arms, and I can't thank those guys enough for choosing me, honestly.
Ryan Young, Trojansports.com. Just building off that, take us through this process. Like, what was the first contact? Who did you hear from? Who got you interested in this? How did it unfold and play out? And then how will you and Coach Belk work together with that group?
It got down to here in another spot that's irrelevant now, that I'm here. But man, it's SC. Like, when they called, it was basically a done deal. My heart was here. Again, I dreamed of playing here. Was blessed enough to be highly recruited. Coming out of high school, played in the All-American game with Robert Woods. So I always wanted to be here. So when they called me for this, it was a no-brainer. Of course, you got to get through the process. You got to be up to par for a job like this. And man, like I think I knocked it out the park. And man, it's a blessing to be here. And with Coach Belk, man, I'm looking to learn. Man, he's one of the best in this thing, and I'm up and coming. I'm right under him, and man, I'm gonna be a sponge. I want to know everything he know. Before I came in here, I was in his office learning, and that's how it's gonna be. We're gonna be one. Like, we're never gonna get pent against each other. He's a great recruiter. I'm a great recruiter. Whatever we do, we're gonna do it together, and I'm gonna follow his leadership, and we're gonna get it.
Ryan Abraham, USCFootball.com. You started your playing career on the offensive side of the ball, playing wide receiver. How much has that helped you coaching defensive backs, going against the position you used to play?
I think that's my biggest weapon. Because I played offense my whole life, so I know the tendencies. I know the splits. I know those things, and that's kind of my cheat sheet. Knowing what a receiver like, knowing what a receiver don't like, knowing the quarterback reads, because I played quarterback all throughout high school, and my coach took it very serious, so I was really studying. So it was when I go to the defensive side, I bring a different element than a normal cornerback coach who played that position his whole life, because I'm looking at it from an offensive lens. So I could tell my guys what's coming kind of before it comes, so we could play aggressive. And I'm one of those coaches. When I let the dogs off the leash, I'm letting them go bite. They go and bite. So we're gonna have fun doing it. Man, I'm so excited up here. I almost shook this thing, but we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun. Put it like that.
Coach Luke Evans, Orange County Register. You obviously developed some really solid corners last year at UCF.
Hold on, say it one more time. I'm sorry.
You obviously developed some really solid corners last year at UCF.
Sure.
What is your general philosophy in terms of coaching, developing cornerbacks? Is there a profile that you're looking for? What is your general kind of philosophy with that?
First, I'm gonna break you down. I'm gonna break you down all the way. I'm gonna find everything you're not good at, and we're gonna become good at it. And the things you're good at, we're going to continue to get great at it. So if you're bad at one thing and you're good at another, whatever you're good at, I'm going to try to make it great. Whatever you're bad at, I'm going to try to make it good. And now it's going to balance out on Saturdays. So, man, it's just about putting the work in and having fun, man. Like, at the end of the day, this football, and we've been playing football since Pee Wee League. And at least since I've been playing, the ball been brown and the field been 100 yards. Here, the ball is brown and the field is 100 yards. So it's at the end of the day, it's football. I'm not going to try to make it more complicated than what it really is. But, man, this is a whole different level. The guys you're going to play at this level is the real deal. You're going to play a lot of guys that play on Sundays, so we got to recruit a lot of guys that's going to play on Sundays. So, man, I'm going to just enjoy the process. I'm not sure what I have to do for my room yet, far as building and breaking down, but I'm still trying to figure out where the bathroom at in the building. But once I sit down and get settled, man, I'm gonna break those guys down and we're gonna build. And it's not gonna be me coming in saying it's my way, my way. No, I'm gonna find out what you're good at. We're gonna become great at it, and I'm gonna turn 3 stars into 5 stars, 5 stars into first-round picks.
Coach Mark Holkin, WeAreSC.com. You played in the SEC, and then you had an opportunity to play for Pete Carroll at Seattle. Do you have any stories or anything that maybe he related to you about USC during your time up there with him?
I do. First off, that's probably my favorite coach ever. He's a guy that poured into his players. He inspired me to be a coach, actually. On my way out of Seattle, I told him I wanted to be a coach. And he gave me his book, and I read his book, man. I seen the trials and tribulations he went through as a coach, getting fired, this, that, and the third. And then he asked me, is you sure you really want to do this? And I'm like, yes, sir. And, of course, I came here, played for the Chargers and things of that nature. But, man, he one of the guys who inspired me to be standing in front of you today. But we do have some history with USC and Auburn, because they came down to Auburn in 2003 and put a good whooping on us. And then in 2004, Auburn went undefeated, and I told them we would have beat them. So it's always that competition. But, man, that is one of not just my favorite coach, that's one of my favorite people ever. Man, he taught me everything I know about the corner position. He took me in at Seattle, a young guy who wanted to play corner for 6 months at Auburn, and he developed me into a guy who ended up stealing some years in the NFL. So I'm forever grateful for him. I can't wait to see him on campus. He's going to get the biggest hug from me. And he won't hear that Auburn USC talk from me, at least for the rest of this year. So, man, that's my guy.
Hey, Coach, Paolo Uggetti, USC, ESPN, sorry. Oh, no, that's okay.
It's all good.
From a recruiting standpoint, what excites you about this place and the history as well as the potential going forward and also the staff that they put together from a personnel standpoint?
Man, it's USC. Like, I don't think it's a player, a good player, that's walking that wouldn't want to play here. Like, this place is special. And, you know, when you from here, you see it all the time, you would just be like, man, that's just USC. No. Us people in the South, that's USC. Like, this place is special, and we want to continue to make it special. But to make it special, we got to get special players. We got to do special things as coaches. And this staff, man, the way Coach Riley built this staff, like, he left no stone unturned. We got young, we got gray hair, y'all, and he's crazy. But it's so much knowledge in the room. Like, I've learned so much ball in a week, and I know I'm gonna continue to grow as a young coach, but even as a recruiter, I'm around great recruiters also, you know, and it's an opportunity of a lifetime. It's still surreal to me, but man, I'm so ready. I'm so pumped to work, to get on that grass and just show what I could do as a coach, as a man. I'm excited. I'm excited for what's to come.
And Antonio Morales from The Athletic. Everybody's talked a lot about your recruiting, but what do you look for when you're recruiting a corner? Skills, traits, personality-wise, what are you looking for when you go on the recruiting trail?
You got to be a dog. You got to be a dog. I like guys that, man, I don't have to tell you to go bite. You know to go bite. Like, if you got a guard dog in your house and you got to tell him when to bite the people who breaking in, I don't think that's a guard dog. You know, so I like guys who's going to go out there and play for something, not just themselves, not just for individual stats. Man, we're going to play for the alumni. We're going to play for the people who donate money to this university. We're going for the kids who look up to us. All that matters to me, because if you got all those qualities, I could build you into a player. But if you don't have those, it's going to be hard for me to build you into a player. So I'm looking for dogs, man. Of course, you got the size and all that you're looking for, but man, if you a dog, you a dog. If you 5'9", but you a dog, we'll find somewhere for you to play. And that's just who I am. I believe my eyes. The stars are cool, but if I watch that film and you out there biting, I consider you a dog. So it's a fun process, man.
Coach Luke Evans, Orange County Register. There's a lot of young corners on this roster in this room. You know, Marcellus Williams, Braylon Conley, Isaiah Rubin. Don't know how much time you've had to evaluate them yet, but if so, what's your impression of them and just early impressions of them and what they could become?
I haven't had enough time to evaluate them yet. I'm gonna do that over the next few days. But man, if they here, they got some dog in them, and I'm pretty sure, like, Coach, if you look at his track record, he keep dogs around him. So I'm pretty sure those guys have it in them. It's my job to get everything out of them, and I'm gonna do that to the best of my ability. Again, man, I'm a player's coach, so y'all gonna see me running around having fun. We gonna celebrate. We pick it off. I'm talking junk. I'm having fun. I'm gonna make this thing fun. I'm gonna make it fun for myself, my corners, and we gonna do it. And we gonna do it.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank y'all for having me. Y'all have a good one.